The revolution, this is the third one of the figure of the study about the system of the building or creating the government. First, we talk about the coup. Coup means a sudden and violent overthrow of the government or the system of the time by a small group. The coup is led and controlled by the armed force, which is contrary to the revolution, because the revolution is by a large number of people for the changes of the entire government and system, such as the social situations, economical and political will take place. Coup is a change of power from the top leaders of the government only, especially the transfer of political figures. They will be at conflict, or soon they will be torn in between themselves. And most importantly, civil war will happen, which see the bitter and bad taste in the country, as we have experienced, as we saw that one. Second is transformation. The transformation, we in Farsi we can say tahawul in the country or in the power. The transformation of power due to the collusion of individual with the power of the government and the structure of the new government according to the central policies of the power change will happen according to its law. Some country has already law. If they wants to change, must be make meeting or some kind of give a vote as by themselves who will be the next person in the government, which is synonymous of the coup almost. But the financial and life lose will be less than coup. That is, a new person will be selected at the head of the government for the new government. Third is revolution. Revolution means revolt, which means turn down. It means again return back. Like for example, the shuffle when the farmer was dig in the dirt and turning back. That's revolutions. So the first reason of the revolution is the deep dissatisfaction of the citizen with the current state of the affairs in the country due to the oppression and villainy of the current government. That's the first. While the workers, peasants, and businessmen protested, or demonstrations or something against their hard-working lives and caused chaos and destruction of the government of the time. The revolutionary people takes the government by force. The new government must announce election after 6 to less than a year because it is international law. But in our homeland, Afghanistan, any people's movement that is from the side of workers or peasants and businessmen has not happened yet in our country. We don't have revolution in our country. We didn't have so far. We have all the peasants, the workers stand against the government in general. No, we didn't have it yet. But there we have many coups in our country, Afghanistan, with the goal of gaining power. Not that they have gone to elections after their victory. We have experience for last 40 years. We have two coup in our country. None of them is after 6 months they called for election. It was very hard, and they elected by different way, by all the bribe, by all favority or those things. The real election is anonymous. People don't know each other. Who does the person the vote or choose? Anyway, another type of government that was called imperial before the First World War, which was synonymous with the king of kings or imperials, has been mentioned in most of the history of the world. The first Rome Empire was named Augustus, who later named the other 3 regions as the emperor, which was Eastern Empire, Western Empire, and one in Central Empire. For example, Western Union is in 470 after Christ, and the Eastern Empire after 1476 years later, which both bankrupt in the World War I. The cause of the Constantinia, actually the reason which they both want to have the Constantinia, but none of them was able to keep it. The Soviet Empire was destroyed in the First World War. The Emperor of Austria, Emperor of the Hungary, and the Emperor of Ottoman, all of them were bankrupt at the First World War. But such as the Emperor of the George VI of Britain, Haile Selassie, and the Emperor of Ethiopia, who were considered as the heirs of Emperor of Suleiman of Bilqis, then all of them perished in the World War II, except for two emperors who remained after the wars. Was the Emperor of Iran, Reza Pahlavi, that also he defeated by Khomeini, and the only remain emperor so far left is Hirohito of Japan, who is still alive. After the First and Second World War, which was against the world power, and the emperors, change took place in the world, and countries of the world were divided into two pacts. One was the NATO, and the other was Warsaw. The Warsaw, I think the first was established the NATO. The North Atlantic Treaty was signed in 1949 by 29 countries from European and from American, called NATO. And the other, which was Warsaw Pact, which was formed in 1955, about 6 years later, allocated of 7 countries, called them the Eastern Bloc, and it was signed in Moscow. And each of member of these two organizations or pact passed their own law and regulation, that each country has a law and civil law, and they are responsible according to the same approved laws, the pact of the NATO or Warsaw. But if any countries oppresses or invades another country, all its members will come to its aid. And if there is a change, such as an occupational or a coup, then again the member of the new government, they recognize the country as a completely neutral country. The majority of NATO members are liberal and secular in their political system. So the fear of the coup or a bad feeling between them is very important. However, let's go to our own subject, to the Taliban expectation that they should realize by UN. Taliban so far, anyway, from the first time and first